Welcome to episode 18 of Soar and Pair. Why not together?
Why not together?
So remember Soar and Pair. Rewind. We're not going to edit. Soar and Pair is soaring together to explore new adventures while inspiring others to create their own. And yeah, we're really going to talk about some adventures that we're shooting for today. Kind of excited about it. In fact, it's going to be about work-life balance and the challenges with that and the pitfalls and everything.
At least it's some of the challenges with that.
Yes.
I mean, there's no way we could hit them all. Not in one episode anyway.
No, but as we continue to, part of the purpose again of our YouTube channel and podcast is to take you on this journey with us and talk about what's really going on with us.
Right.
And some of the bumps and struggles. Like a conversation in your living room.
Yep.
Right? So,
welcome.
Yes, welcome to our living room. And podcasters, welcome to our audio living room. So, let's talk first about the week. I think for me, I'm most excited about this music update because just earlier today on Facebook and my YouTube channel, I premiered my brand new song, Rise and Shine.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a really good reaction, very excited about it. I wrote it 2 weeks ago, as you know, over the 4th of July weekend, and wanted to get it polished and ready to put out.
It's timely. I feel like it's very timely right now for a lot of people.
Right. It really just talks about, kind of dusting yourself off and putting your best foot forward and being kind to other people who are struggling to shine themselves. So a lot of times, even we can't fix everybody, but we're just to sort of, hold that space for them.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good reminder for all of us to be kind to each other.
It's just a catchy song. Doesn't hurt to have it be a catchy song.
Exactly.
Along with a good message. So
it's a happy song.
Yeah, it is. And so if you haven't seen it, you can go on our Facebook page, Soar and Pair, or you can go on to my YouTube channel Jim Sorensen, subscribe, and like and share, please. So that's kind of my music update. What about you, Miss Sandy?
It's been a busy week.
What was this week like for you?
It's been a busy week for me. I just today got my new business page set up on Facebook. It's under Sandy Sorensen, Intuitive Counselor, Master Healer. See, I'm still getting used to it.
Yeah, she had to look at me first and go, what was it again?
Yes. So I'm starting to take appointments. I'm doing free readings for people, 20 to 30 minute blocks, and I think I decided 5-6 appointments available for not this week, not this coming week, but the following week, for what days? Wednesday, Thursday, right?
Wednesday the 29th, Thursday the 30th.
I had to sit down with my calendar and make it work, but so the 29th and 30th. And if you are interested in getting a free reading, just direct message me on Sandy Sorensen on Facebook there, and I will get you set up.
Right, exactly. So you can go onto our Facebook page, Soar and Pair, and go into her business page, message us on that, or even on the email, Soar and Pair.
Or on the email, exactly. And the new page is still under construction. There will be more things coming to that, but since it's brand new today, I'm doing what I can, and I've got it up and running. So that's exciting. It's super exciting. I feel good about it.
Yeah, it's a big step that I know that we were trying to take, but instead of setting up a whole website before really everything is
we can kind of do it in conjunction, little by piecemeal, and it's easy to find me because it's just my name. I still have Still Point Energy Healing, but I'm gonna put that on the back burner for now and keep that for something else down the road. I figured it would be easier to just keep it as my name.
So speaking of healing appointments are healing energy. How does that fit into? That's different than what
So
you're
those
offering.
are different than what I'm offering. I'm still taking appointments for the healing work. If you're interested in that, just same thing. You can reach out to me and we can get you scheduled for that. A lot of times I do the healing appointments on the weekends.
Right.
But those are long distance healing, so it's touch free. And I'll connect with you over the phone before and after, and we'll kind of touch base and see how things went. And yeah.
So as Sandy would say, call me.
Call me. Yeah.
with my pinky and thumb as the phone for those on the podcast. So yeah, I think it's interesting because of, you know, COVID and what's going on with the pandemic, that this really brings into focus that you don't have to be in person to get the benefit
not at all
of that healing. So, you know, I think that's I think it can't be stated enough. I know we've mentioned it in the past, but because we don't know how long this is going to go on.
Yeah, this is going to be something that's going to last for a while. I think everyone's rethinking the social distancing and just being cautious. And so I think this is going to change the way we do a lot of things from here forward. Some things won't return to the way they were. Not that we won't have in-person appointments in the future, but I just think we'll see less of them.
Well, and the fact that energy doesn't, you know, energy can be done long distance. It doesn't have to be done in close proximity. Yeah. Although definitely in person, you know, has its advantages. But I don't think the long distance or not being in the room or having somebody on the table that you're doing light touch is an absolute requirement for polarity or craniosacral, right?
The energy knows where to go. You focus your intention and you dial into that, and it knows where to go. It's just holding space for that to do the work, because it's really about your body knowing what to do.
Right. Right, and those appointments generally are an hour long, right?
Because those appointments run longer than the intuitive counseling appointments, for sure. Yeah, because I need time to get in and do the work and then come back and talk to you. So yeah, those appointments will last longer.
Right, so that's really exciting. I think
there will be updates on the page, on the Facebook page, regarding menu pricing and all of that. I'll be getting that updated real soon.
She's not cheap either. I'm just kidding.
Oh, jeez. Thanks, Jim.
No. You know, and I think that's, you know, when you look at that whole thing, I think what's interesting is, you know, your goal is to really make it your business. So you can't give it away for free. Right. You know, although these free intuitive readings are kind of getting you jump started on that end.
Yeah, and it's about, you know, me getting more comfortable with doing them and just kind of, you know, launching myself out there to meet people and make those connections. So it's exciting. I'm enjoying this part of it. I have a feeling I'm going to look back on this time in the future and have fond memories of it, because it is exciting.
Right. So, it really is. It's like taking the jump off that cliff.
As if the net is already there.
Or if the
net, a little nerve-wracking,
if the net isn't there, hopefully you're flying and you have a soft landing. Right?
Yeah. Got my wings on.
Yeah, you don't want to plummet straight down into the net. But no, that's a beautiful metaphor, and you know, it's really exciting for you. And you know, launching a new song for me is very much like jumping off a cliff, because you know that's something that is very personal and creative. Right. And so when you share that with others, not that, you know, their stamp of approval, you hang on that, but it is putting a piece of your soul out there. Absolutely, you know, for people to look at or to listen to or not, to pay attention to or ignore. And so there's always a risk when you're really putting yourself out there. Of course. And I think this is what, in our opinion, I think this is what we decided to do with Why Not Together. Yeah. And how we really wanted to break free of the treadmill we've been on, which brings us to the subject
Yes, it does.
That we're going to
Great
talk about.
Segue,
today.
Jim.
I know.
Good job.
I'm full of those segues. Just call me Jim Segway Sorensen. But it's really establishing the work-life balance. And not only that, I think the other big part is how do we continue to work on our busy full-time, quote, job lives, and yet really make, headway towards these
anything you want to do.
Anything you want to do, but
whether it's another business or just recreational, anything else that you want to do, how do you make room
and stay sane in the process? So,
right. Oh well, forget it.
Yeah. Well, insanity definitely is part of this journey.
Yes.
But I think both of us could probably say that we've never been busier.
Yeah.
In our current jobs. The stress level is very high going on.
True.
With nursing and what you're seeing, there's a high demand for people who are, there's a lot going on right now in the world with,
yes,
with
there
the medical.
is. Not to mention, in addition to all the regular things that come up.
Right.
The surgeries and the illnesses and just life.
And would you say that people are more stressed in general about health concerns?
Yes. Yes, I would. People are more fearful of going to the doctor, being out in the public realm. People don't want to go out. And some people have the misconception that they can't go to the doctor or have that elective surgery that needs to be done, and that's not true. So
it's a lot
of stress.
Yeah, and it's a lot about calming people down.
It is. It's a lot about calming them down and helping them live their healthiest life, get to that healthiest place so that they know how to handle it, because I think how we feel absolutely directly impacts our health. And if we feel like we're in control of our own health, then we're going to do better.
And speaking of not feeling in control, on my end with the economic front and unemployment payments and people not getting their full-time hours or not working at all.
Yeah.
And all government institutions are strained and stressed right now because dealing with the overwhelming volume of people and everything else has put a strain on trying to get those benefits out to people, but yet not just giving it out to everybody and dealing with the fraud. So not that we're going to get into that, but I think just painting a picture of what both of us are dealing with.
Of what life looks like for us. Yeah.
Well over 40 hours a week too, because we're both working 50 hours a week. So let's start with you. So how do you balance that with what you just talked about at the beginning of this podcast, which is, okay, folks, here are some intuitive appointments, here's healing appointments.
Yeah, how do you do that? With my day job, I really focus on when I'm there, and I have benchmarks that I meet for myself every day. A task to do type list, but it's what keeps me engaged and keeps me present in that moment. I work hard and I play hard.
Right.
It allows me the space, even when I'm slamming busy, which pretty much most days, right, is just staying within my little bubble, if you will, of, okay, I'm doing one thing at a time. I'm focusing on one thing at a time, but yet I'm having fun while I'm doing it. I always have to bring humor and laughter into what I'm doing, because otherwise I start taking myself too serious. Even when I'm dealing with serious situations, granted, there's times that's inappropriate, and I get it, totally, but
you don't want to laugh if someone says, yeah, I just got diagnosed with cancer.
No,
yeah,
not the time for a joke.
It's not necessarily the outward form.
No, it's about meeting people where they are and matching them where they are, holding space, and enjoying what I'm doing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Just really enjoying it.
I totally relate to that. For me, I know I'm having a good day because I'm just riddled with meetings all day long. As you've heard, when I work here from home, I work here from home.
One to the next. Meeting for that meeting. Yeah.
Yes, and so there's meeting. Some days it's just meeting after meeting after meeting, and I just wave to her, or she goes and takes a break outside in the pool or whatever, and I'm in a meeting, or she plops lunch in front of me, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Otherwise I don't eat. So what I notice, what works for me, obviously focusing on the task at hand, but when I bring humor into the meetings, when I'm playful, and other folks have told me, I enjoy your humor, thank you. People need that, because I think when you get too serious, everything starts to tighten up.
Yes.
You know?
And I don't think a lot of times people don't realize how tight they are until you give them an opportunity to release.
Right.
And then they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. I didn't even know I needed that.
But I think what we're talking about here is focusing on the day at hand, and trying not to get stressed out, so that after that day is over, after that week is over, we have something left over in the tank, right?
Yes. Something left for me, something left for you, for anything else I want to be doing. Exactly. I'm not going to leave it. I don't want to just work. I love what I do, but there's more to my life.
Right. And that, I remember when you did, speaking of an example, when you were a home health nurse, like 3 or 4 years
back. That was
back.
pretty much all I did. Yeah.
It was 7 days a week. And
all hours.
When you weren't out there in the field, it seemed like you came home and you could never catch up with your charting.
So much charting.
And there would be some weeks where Sunday night you would chart till midnight.
Most weeks.
And then we had to set up you sort of had to bill it out. And so there were some nights that you and I stayed up till 4 or 5 in the morning, Monday morning.
Yes.
To get that done, so that you could turn around and
go back out
the
next
again.
morning. Yeah. Way too often that happened.
Right.
Sorry.
If
I never said so, sorry.
I jokingly called her my boss, and I was the secretary sleeping with my boss.
Yeah.
But you know, it's something we tackled together. But I think we realized after months of this, if not, it seemed like forever, but a couple years of this, is that this was not working for us. You know,
it was just too much.
Yeah.
Grinding it out.
The grinding it out was tough for us, and we really felt, at least I felt like we got to this week, and it's just like that treadmill feeling.
2 hours, it starts over.
Only to start over again.
Yeah.
With no end in sight.
Yeah. And I loved what I was doing then, but yes, there wasn't any of the work-life balance that we were looking for.
Right. So as we've started this journey now, you know, we're on episode 18, and so we've been doing this now for about 4 months. How have, in your view, and how have we been able to break through that sort of treadmill? How have we been able to find time to do this, let alone your healing business, intuitive counseling business, some of my music projects? How have we been able to even make progress, in your opinion? What's the difference now than the years in the past for you?
For me, I would say, it's important to me.
Right.
For one, and when something is important to you and you enjoy doing it, when there's a payoff,
right,
then of course we're going to make room. Also about just creating that balance. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me. I don't know how to answer this question.
No, that's okay. And it's a question I'm kind of asking both of us, and I think for us, first of all, sometimes you can't force things when you're not ready. So I don't think 2 or 3 years ago,
good point,
we were ready for this. So it's not always like, oh, beat yourself up, it's not working. We had other challenges. We were still raising a couple teenage daughters in a mixed family. We still we're catching up financially with a lot of struggles. There was a lot going on. I was a lot busier with my tuning business.
Yeah.
And we had to do what we had to do. So I think one of the points I want to make is know where you're at and do the best you can, but when you have that opportunity to step into a new chapter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah. Not trying to fit that square peg into the round hole. If it's not working, reassess.
Right.
Reassess, wait maybe, even if that's appropriate. Change things up to make it fit your life, right? It's very much like what I tell people about certain medications. Fit the medication into your life, not the other way around. In other words, don't let it rule you. And it's very appropriate for this. It's you never want to have anything that's controlling what you do, especially if you're not enjoying it.
Right. And I think a good point is so if we're really busy, like we say we are right now, but we have these goals to grow beyond, I think one thing that's helped me is set a goal. Like, if I can just get one thing done this week. See, for instance, for me, it was, I want to prepare and get this song recorded just right and put out on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, for my friends to premiere it. That was my goal this week. And of course I waited till Saturday midnight.
Yeah, I was cracking the whip at him.
She was saying, you've promised this for 2 weeks now.
You have to do this.
Otherwise, you're going to have to eat crow. But this is good. The point is, it's a good motivator.
It's a very good motivator.
To kind of hold yourself to that. Now,
holding yourself accountable.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead. No,
it's true. And if I had set 10 things up for me to do,
set yourself up for failure.
That's just too much.
Yeah, it has to be realistic.
Yeah, and for you, same thing, right?
Very much so. Keeping it realistic as I'm moving forward with my business. Just scheduling it out. I'd like to make sure that I'm always scheduled out a month or so in advance, just so that I can make that balance.
Right.
And, blocking off time for self, for family, for relationships and things that are important to you. I think that's hugely important, and don't bend on it.
Right.
Don't you think?
Yes.
That's one thing, with your tunings we've talked about. Same thing.
Most definitely. I think something else really important, because we're all busy all the time. I know we've talked about this before, but I think it really makes sense now. Is even when we're in the midst of this, one thing that you and I have gotten better at is taking a moment for ourselves, taking that break. For you, taking a lunch hour most days.
Which has changed for me. It used to be 30 minutes, and now I'm like, you know what, I want an hour. It helps. It makes a big difference in breaking up my day. Yeah. Right,
and taking some time, walking in the grass outside in our backyard, or putting your feet in the pool.
Put my feet in the pool. It really helps. Listening to the birds, just going out and sitting with the birds. And
she talks to the birds, by the way.
I do.
And that's okay.
Talk to the animals.
You talk to your plants as well, so.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird like that.
And trees. The good thing about it is that all those things don't really talk back.
No, they do in their own way.
Yeah, they do, actually. All joking aside, you're right. But I think taking that time, for me, I've mentioned this before, but even a 5-minute meditation, or just taking a big deep breath, is helpful, because I think we get more and more stressed. We get more in our head through the day.
Getting out of your head, not taking yourself so serious. And if you can't meditate, fine. If meditation isn't something for you, just sitting quiet and taking that mental break. When you told me something when we were talking about this episode, about how you took 5-10 minutes and you just connected with your game.
Yeah. So I was tuning yesterday, and my morning was a little rough because I went to a couple churches and they didn't have the air on, so it was very, very hot in Arizona. I think it was like 115.
It was a bazillion degrees.
Yes.
Just
So doing that job when it's hot just really kind of gets to you. Then you go out to the hot car, drive to the next appointment, And when I got to my third appointment, I was wrung out. I was just in the middle of it. Usually I'm rush, get to the next one. And I stopped and I told myself, you know what? I'm just taking a moment, and I grabbed my phone and I started playing a favorite game. Nobody was around. Of course, I wouldn't do this in front of a customer. But I just took probably 10 or 15 minutes, which I never do.
And his brain was screaming at him.
Yeah. It was basically saying, what are you doing? You know, you got more tunings to do. You want to get this done. You're tired. You want to get home. And I just took 10, 15 minutes.
He said, shut up. Get out of here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talking to myself.
Yeah.
And it really helped kind of reset me. And then I put it down. I went back and I was able to just kind of get through the rest of the day.
Did it recharge you?
Yeah, it really helped because I really felt like I wanted to just take a nap at that point. I was just done.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to...
Sleeping under the piano. I could see it now.
Yeah, like a homeless person under a bus bench. But just taking that time, it really is. And I think that's why breaks are put in the middle of the day, because employers realize, I mean, the really high-end employers like the Googles and Apple, they realize that balance in their employees with being creative, taking time.
They've gotten smart about it.
Right. Yeah. You know, it's not just because they're millennials. I think the millennials have figured out they don't want to be stressed like the previous generations.
Well, look at the way Europe does it. Their work week is so much better than ours.
Yes, so I think we should all petition for 4-day-a-week work weeks and 3-day weekends.
Heck yeah. Sign me up.
But I think the idea is, even though, so a lot of us, we work 5 days a week or 6 days a week, it's really getting yourself recharged and taking that time so that you have energy, getting back to work-life balance. You have energy to spend towards something that you really want to do. And I think that's what's worked for us the past almost 4 months, is that of course, we have a desire and a focus to keep doing this YouTube channel and podcast. It's just something that is motivating us to go beyond the treadmill of the jobs that we have, which we both enjoy our work. It's not even that. It's, why not do something even more incredible with our lives?
Right. Always striving for something more or different, or just, carving out our own piece of enjoyment. Right.
But I think, again, what do they say about you can't eat an elephant in one sitting, so you take little bites of... Chewy as in...
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, not Chewbacca?
No, I was just thinking of the tough skin.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. It's like chewing on leather. No, but if you have this elephant of a dream, instead of saying, I'm going to do this week, I'm going to get everything done, by the end of the week, you're going to be discouraged. And a lot of times,
burn yourself out.
A lot of times we're our own worst roadblocks, because
Aren't
we have
usually?
High expectation, and we're not really thinking of how little time we have, and we're going to get X done. Yes.
Yeah. Shoot yourself in the foot.
So,
yeah.
I think that's how you and I are trying to do it, one small step at a time, instead of trying to get it all figured out at once while we have these
and changing jobs. The things that you can, within your ability. When you're working for a big corporation, you can't change the things that you might want to, but so you change the small things that you can. Right. The way you approach it, the way you see it, what you let get to you, all those things add up. And it just helps to be able to shake it off, I think.
Well, also, the coronavirus, the pandemic, has taken away a lot of extracurricular activities.
Yes.
And so
I was thinking that too.
What do you do with all that extra time, in terms of not going out like you usually do? And that, to me, is an opportunity to reset and to go, because...
You can't Netflix all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you could binge watch, but then, again, you're just turning into somebody.
Well, my point is, yes, of course you can, but at some point, even that wears thin, or you run out of things to watch.
Right. And I think you and I continue to try to find the balance because we do need to take some time to just chill, as we say, just to decompress. It can't be every night after work. Okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing?
No.
Because I think getting back to what you said earlier, I think is a really important point. Not taking everything so darn seriously, including what we're doing here.
Of course.
You know,
especially, yeah. I think everything needs to be kind of, laughing at yourself.
You're good at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lately, she's been laughing at so many jokes. I'm like, you're like beating me. And the self used to be, I would laugh at myself. She says, "You think that's funny, James?" And
yeah, really? Do you?
Yeah, really? Did you go there? And lately, I'm just looking at her like, so this is what I do to you, huh?
Mm-hmm. Now you know how it feels, right?
But the humor, enjoying it along the way. If we're not having fun, then I think we need to reassess what it is we're doing.
I always say that if you're not having fun, you need to rethink things. Myself, especially, that's kind of the way I approach it. Is if I'm not having fun with something, I try to mix it up. And if I can't, then maybe I need to reassess if that's where I belong.
Right.
Because things come and go. It's okay,
And I think the last thing is you got to be flexible with how things change. So you best lay plans. This didn't happen. Something came up this week. Instead of getting discouraged, like, oh my gosh, my dreams are crumbling before me.
Something better might be. I know it's a very pat thing to say, but something better might be coming when you don't get what it is you think you wanted.
Right.
If you kind of roll with it, sometimes you find out it turned out better than you originally planned.
Good point. I couldn't have said it better myself. So to wrap up this segment, unless you had something else you wanted to say about it, I think we
kind of beat this horse.
We're gonna beat this horse.
Yeah.
Poor horse.
Yeah.
Let's pet it and make it better.
Okay.
But there's a quote I think that we found that I think really underscores what we're saying here. So
I forgot it was me.
Yeah, you're supposed to read it, and I'm buying time
and he's
for
kind
you.
Of, you're good at the segues today.
There's a quote, Sandy.
Always take some of the play, fun, freedom, and wonder of the weekend into your week, and especially into your work.
I like that. Being playful, having fun, is, I think, the key for longevity and happiness in life.
I do too.
And yes, there's some Mondays that I dread, but I'm really,
of course.
I'm really trying to look at it differently. Even if you can't change any of the circumstances, you always have the freedom in your mind to say, today I'm just going to look at things a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to just
see how it makes your day, if it changes it at all.
Right. And if it doesn't, that's okay too.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, okay, fine. At least you tried.
Right. Exactly. So, in this segment of Sandyism,
you're not out yet, huh?
I'm not out yet. You do have material for me to continue to draw from, but one of these times I'm going to say, I'm out of Sandyisms at the moment, but until she comes up with another one, stay tuned. So this one it's an interesting thing that she says, particularly when she's being very thoughtful and making a point and listening to you, she will say this, quote, "That's the thing."
That's the thing?
Yes.
Do I say that?
Yes. Or no, sorry, the thing is.
Yeah, I guess I do say that a lot.
The thing is.
The thing is, yeah.
It's an interesting, and I call it a Sandyism because I can tell it's not even the word so much as that you're being really thoughtful.
I'm setting it up
Yes,
so that
like-
I'm buying time.
Jim, the thing is, dot, dot,
dot,
dot.
dot.
What am I going to say right now? So maybe it's just a clever delay tactic.
I'm thinking, the thing is.
So if she says it in this, you'll know.
Yeah.
She's.
Wait for the pause. Yeah.
Yeah, since we never edit any of our shows, by the way, what you hear is what you get.
Oh,
so
they can tell.
They can.
I'm sure.
I think it's very polished, but that's just me. But you know, we've always wanted it to be kind of raw and open and you know, unpolished, if you will.
That's the idea. Yeah.
So we appreciate you hanging out with us in episode 18. We hope you enjoyed it. And again, we want to remind you that the YouTube channel, Soar and Pair, is where you can see our faces, and the podcast apps is where you can hear our voices on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and all.
He's going from memory.
Yeah, I know, because she didn't write it.
I didn't write it down. Yeah.
Yeah, all those, the podcast
Radio
app,
Public.
Radio Public. Yeah, you actually listened.
I did.
Google Podcast. So all of those you can find our Soar and Pair, Why Not Together. You can see the picture of our shadows holding hands, and you can go back and listen to some older episodes now. We've got some history there.
We do.
We really, really do.
Starting to add up, isn't it?
It's hopefully in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, and good to see you all. I hope you have a great week. Put some fun in it.
Absolutely, and find balance. And remember, you could reach out to Sandy for a free intuitive counseling appointment.
Yep.
Just reach out through Soar and Pair Facebook page, through her business page. What is the name of the business page again?
You're mean. You're mean. It's Sandy Sorensen, intuitive counselor and master healer.
Absolutely.
Boom.
She got it. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Have a great week.